Heavy rain and strong winds are again pounding coastal Louisiana and portions of Texas and Mississippi after Hurricane Delta became the 10th named storm to hit the U.S. mainland this year.
In developing news tonight, more than 600,000 people remain without power across Louisiana, Mississippi, and Texas in the wake of Hurricane Delta.
That's incredible. Lake Charles, Louisiana getting hit with yet another hurricane. Those utility vehicles you see back there, they've been here for weeks, trying to put this town back together from the last hurricane, and now they're getting slammed again.
This morning, the devastation from Hurricane Delta sending shockwaves through the Gulf after the Category 2 storm chewed up mobile homes, turned over tractor trailers, and left southwest Louisiana stunned.
First, you're in disbelief and you're in denial. It's like, this can't possibly be happening.
Delta touching down with 100-mile-an-hour winds in Creole, a mere 12 miles from Laura's landfall.
I moved everything out the first time, and then I started rebuilding, and then this one came right same track. It's just devastating to lose as much as you lose, and then you lose again.
Delta lashing the Gulf Coast with 100-mile-per-hour winds that ripped off roofs and toppled trees. The dangerous storm surge over 9 feet in some places.
For the second time in 2 months, Lake Charles is picking up the pieces after another massive storm. Hurricane Delta made landfall Friday as a Cat 2, taking almost the same path as Hurricane Laura just 6 weeks ago.
The wind is relentless right now, hitting about 70 miles per hour.
That is the sound of Hurricane Delta, just before making landfall in Creole, Louisiana. A Category 2 hurricane when it roared on shore, peeling roofs off of buildings. Waves and surge lapping at the land in Lake Arthur. Up to 17 inches of torrential, wind-whipped rain. Those winds gusting to 100 miles per hour. The destructive force lashing buildings, snapping utility poles, leaving hundreds of thousands without power across Louisiana and Texas. The fierce winds tossing this mobile home right onto the road and knocking this tractor trailer onto its side. Delta's broad push of water forcing storm surge up to 9 feet near freshwater canal locks. The storm flooding low-lying neighborhoods in Welch. What's left of Delta now rocketing inland with rain and gusting winds in Arkansas and Mississippi.
Tonight, the remnants of Hurricane Delta wreaking havoc in the south after slamming into Louisiana as a Category 2 hurricane. At least 7 reported tornadoes across the southeast. First responders forming a human chain, rescuing people from chest-high floodwater in North Georgia. Heavy rain swamping parts of I-75. This massive train derailing, causing a hazmat situation and evacuations outside of Atlanta. Water pouring into homes. Residents wading through the debris. In Louisiana, 300,000 customers still without power tonight. Residents picking up the pieces from Delta's devastation. 100-mile-per-hour winds toppling trees, ripping roofs off of homes, and knocking down power lines.
Well, Whit, good morning to you. We've officially done it. 5 landfalling hurricanes of those 10 landfalling storms. That is a feat we have not made since 2005 in that epic season. And if you look behind me, these are the streets of Lafayette just covered in tree debris. The power only on this street, but almost everyone out of power. And it is so much worse just to our west. That same area that feels like Delta was just the punch while they were already knocked out by Laura 44 days ago. Believe it or not, this is the eye of what's left of Delta. I mean, we still have a hurricane, and this is not what a hurricane or a tropical storm eye looks like. I've been in many of them where the winds are calm, everything goes clear, and at night you can even see the stars. That is not happening tonight because this storm got sheared and ripped apart, and it is the epitome of what we call a dirty eye.
This just one of the thousands of homes in coastal Louisiana here in the southwest portion of the state that still hasn't fixed their roof from what Hurricane Laura did. The tarp is already blowing around, rain already pouring into that house, and here we are not even seeing winds of 10 to 15 miles an hour yet. It's going to get far worse.
Delta's winds topped out at 100 miles per hour, knocking out electricity to hundreds of thousands of people. Many of them still reeling after Hurricane Laura that hit just 6 weeks ago. That storm followed nearly the same path as Delta and left nearly every building and home in Lake Charles, Louisiana damaged.
It's hitting like probably 15 miles from where it hit originally, so we're really worried about how our house is doing right now.
This morning, 2,500 members of Louisiana's National Guard are fanning out to help in hard-hit areas.
I want folks to be hopeful because we know that we're going to do everything that we can to get them right side up again.
Delta is the fourth named storm to hit the state this year.
All the need is enormous. It is absolutely enormous. If you've driven around, and I know you have, you just see fences down, blue tarps on every roof. Some unfortunate as us, we've already gotten our house roofed, but it's just devastating.
Darren Worthington is a minister in Lake Charles. His church coordinates relief efforts, and while he's confident the city can bounce back, he admits this string of storms has been tough.
When did you start to feel that anxiety?
I actually said it's 2020. What else? You know, it just was one of those things. It's just been that kind of year.
There is not a stretch, a corner, a block in Lake Charles that has not been touched by multiple hurricanes in the time span of 6 weeks, and they are bearing the battle scars right now. Over my shoulder, you see these heaps of debris. This is what it looks like on pretty much every block in the city. These heaps actually are not as bad as some of what I've seen already today. You look over my shoulder here down the street, blue tarps have come to be sort of the signature for Lake Charles right now. It tells you the thousands of homes that suffered structural damage during Laura. As we tilt down the block, you'll see there's 3 or 4 just on this street alone. There are now hundreds of homes that are flooded as well after Delta came in and dumped a foot of rain or more in this area. This house right here, Shep, actually had 2 trees splice into it, one in the front, which you can see over here, another on the side that you can't see from this vantage point. But that blue tarp is now dangling from the side, telling you that when Delta came in, it reoriented it, meaning more water came into this house. These folks who have already been through so much, Shepard, now have to deal with yet another aspect of this recovery process. And as you mentioned, 150,000 customers in the state of Louisiana right now, days later, still without power.
The White family living out of their camper.
The power was out for 27 days actually for us. I know there's still people without power from the first one.
Lake Charles residents know they have a long road to recovery.
I feel very hopeless. I don't know if I'm going to be able to live through the put back together, only to have it destroyed again.
Residents like Russell Wright are finding it hard to stay positive.
And last night, in the middle of the night when this was going on, water was almost up to the door, and it was, you know, once again, here we go, and we got to rebuild again.
Wright had just started repairing the damage Laura left on his home. Overnight, Delta blew off his protective blue tarp, drenching everything inside, sending him back on his roof Saturday to start all over again.
The pain of losing everything and being without and everything else that's going on, and then this again. It's bad.
Almost every homeowner on this block is just like Russell Wright, working with the insurance companies on repairs after Laura. But after Hurricane Delta, those adjusters will have to come out again. They'll start a new claim and reassess each one of these homes to figure out if anything is salvageable.
All right, Rob joins us now just back from the storm zone. And Rob, the remnants of Delta are still packing a punch far from the Gulf Coast.
Very much so, Tom. Matter of fact, remnants of Delta will be here in New York City in the next 36 hours. Take a look at where the center of this thing is. It's just North Georgia, near Chattanooga, Tennessee. Strong storms, as you saw in this area, but the heaviest rain is bumping up against that front. So we put the maps into motion. You'll see the pulses of heavy rain in D.C. and Baltimore and Ocean City tomorrow, and then Philadelphia as well throughout the afternoon. The heavy stuff stays south of New York until tomorrow night, and then lifts into New England, where some of this will be beneficial rains, but in places like New Jersey, where it'll be the heaviest, we could very well see some flooding there.
This is the official all of the landfalls on a map of who got hit where. And if we zoom in, you can see right next to that Cat 4 Laura, Delta's path, just 12 miles away. Eva, I do not want to come back to the Gulf Coast again, but unfortunately, we still have hurricane season until November 30th.